or maybe putting the possibility of like draft something that goes in recommendation staff, but rationale.
Okay, we're live.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Julianne Hirsch. I have here tonight Kristen Wickstead and Scott Rogers from the Board of Selectmen. We are here tonight to interview candidates for committees, for volunteer positions on committees in town. But before we actually get started, I will read the directive from the governor. Okay, so this open meeting of the Board of Selectmen Interview Committee is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of June 16, 2021, an act relative to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency. All members of the interview committee are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order allows the interview committee to meet entirely remotely as long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. Members of the public who wish to view the live stream of this meeting may do so by going to Northborough Remote Meetings on YouTube via the link listed on the agenda. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will not feature public comment. Each vote taken this evening will be conducted by roll call vote. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Kristen Wickstead.
Present.
Scott Rogers.
Present.
So the first item on the agenda is acceptance of meeting minutes. Do I have a motion?
Yes, I move that we accept the meeting minutes for May 3rd, 2022 as presented.
Second, any second?
Second. Sorry.
Thank you, Kristen. And so this is a roll call vote. Scott Rogers.
Aye.
Kristen.
Aye.
And I am going to abstain because I did not have a chance to read the minutes. So the motion passes, the minutes are accepted. So next we will proceed with with meeting our candidates. And the first person I think we have is Chandra Vora.
Yes, and I don't see anyone in the waiting room yet.
Oh, okay.
I'll let you know.
Okay.
We are just a few minutes early, maybe for what their time was.
Yeah.
So Julianne and Kristen, I'm going to go ahead and depart. Good luck and have a lot of fun on the interviews. And I look forward to watching on the side. Talk to y'all later.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Scott.
I have Liz here, who is a member of the scholarship committee. So she's going to help out to answer any questions if the applicants have anything.
Okay.
Hi,
Hi, Liz.
how are you?
Liz.
Hi, Liz. All right, we'll give. Do you know these applicants? Anybody?
I think I'm familiar with Christine's name because
Okay.
she's part of the VPTO, but I have never met her personally.
I'm going to, because I asked them to try to join a little bit early, so I'm going to go off camera and give him a quick call. Hold on just a moment.
Liz, did you get a copy of the applications too? The filled out
I
application?
did.
Okay. So, yeah, they look pretty well filled out anyway, and they look like good folks. So I hope people come for their interviews. Did you? did
They wouldn't skip them, would they, without notifying? That doesn't happen, does it?
It does, but not that often.
Yeah,
And people were given a certain time slot, or?
I think so. I have it written down that one's at 5:30, one's at 5:40.
Okay. All right, well, we're just very on top of things here
We did get it started a little bit
early.
early and on time, so.
I know, who knew? We thought it would take us a while to figure things out and really. So,
I will just tell you that I did have one occasion where I lost power, and it looks like it's getting pretty windy out here, so
Is
if I
it?
lose power.
yeah, if you lose power, I don't know. what's gonna happen.
I just spoke to Chandra and he's going to dial in.
Okay,
So just wait till he gets here.
okay, thanks.
It's nice to see Diane's face. I know we emailed quite a bit.
I agree.
You're always very helpful.
Oh, thank you. We'll go ahead and let him in. Are you ready?
Please.
Okay.
How easily, these are the receipts that went into the property insurance fund so far this year.
Mm-mm. We lost him.
Maybe he lost power.
Shh. We don't want that.
We might just have a bad cell signal too, wherever he is.
All right, we'll try again.
So these are any checks that we've received from insurance, you know, the cost of.
There you are. Can you hear us? Can you unmute yourself?
That's the property insurance, yeah.
Okay.
So I know there's like claim numbers. that
Hello.
recorded on the receipts
There he
and
is.
stuff in the system, but I can't really tell what.
Great. Hi. I think he's not muted, but I can't hear you. Maybe your volume's low? Can anybody else hear him?
No.
Oh, that might help. Yeah, headphones. Can you hear us? Maybe not.
Is it better?
Yeah, there.
Oh, much. Hello, can we call you Chandra? Oh,
Well, now he's muted again.
lost you again. Oh, you just have to unmute yourself.
Now you're muted.
You have to unmute yourself.
Sure. Okay.
Well,
Well,
yeah,
Can you hear? Can anybody hear him?
there's something did go right.
no, we did for a second and now we can't hear you again.
That seems to happen with police anyways, they have all these like supplemental claims every time. With their vendor that they always use, it's Ultrashine. And then Ultrashine doesn't tell us we owe the money and then it just spirals into a big event.
Hmm. No, we still can't hear you. Oh. No. Can't hear you. Hmm. Start over? Okay. Sometimes going out and in again helps. You know?
Technical difficulties.
Yeah. Glamorous job.
Diane, would it make a difference if like Kristen or I admitted him? Do you think that would?
It shouldn't.
Okay.
I think it's on his end.
Okay.
No, but it's not.
Okay. Now you're muted.
Okay, now I'm unmuted.
Oh, there, we hear you.
Thank you.
Sorry about that. Sorry for being tardy.
That's okay.
That's okay.
That's okay.
Thank you so much for coming and sorry about the difficulties.
Yeah, sorry
So-
about that. Okay.
So let me introduce us all. First, we have Diane Wackel, who is our staff person. We have myself, Julianne Hirsch, Board of Selectmen, Kristen Wickstead, Board of Selectmen, and Liz Nolan, who is the representing the Scholarship Committee tonight.
Oh, good.
So again, thank you so much for applying. And to start off, would you like to, I know it's in your application, but for anybody who's watching at home, could you just tell us a little bit about yourself and your interest in Scholarship Committee?
Okay. Yes, so my name is Chandra Vora, and I came to Massachusetts almost 40 years ago. And ever since, I pretty much lived in Northborough. I had a house, we lived in a Juniper Brook Road for a while, and then we moved here in Western Terrace. That's where we live. We have my wife, Nisha. She's also, she works on, she's a part of Juniors Women's Club in Northborough.
Okay.
So we volunteer there. And my whole life, I've been working for Intel Corporation, which actually it used to be Data General, and then it was digital, and then finally Intel in Hudson. So that's where I spent most of my career, all computers. So I've been, when I retired a few years ago, I was managing the chip development, so the chip we use in the computers. So that's what we did for the longest time. And myself and my wife both, originally we are from India, when we were born in India. And I came to this country almost 50 years ago. So this has been my home forever. And the strength we brought in this country is about education. So I had my bachelor's degree in India, and I came here, I did my master's degree, And then ever since I joined computer companies, and I almost did a PhD also, but anyway, I left that one. But I've been working on computer company, and education is very, very dear to us. We have 3 children. All of them went to elementary school. My 2 daughters, Ami and Avni, they went all the way through Algonquin, so middle school and high school. My son went to St. John's for high school, so it's all Northborough. And my all children are very successful thanks to Northborough, thanks to the school system. One is doctor, one is finance, both of them. My oldest daughter is a pediatrician. My second daughter, she's an MD, managing director in a finance company. And my son is also an MD. So highly appreciative of Northborough school system and everything we do in Northborough. So that's why, I retired about 4 or 5 years ago, and I wanted to do something for Northborough. And one of the things, education is a key to us. So I thought I will join Northborough and see what I can bring to the party. So,
Well, I'm sure you can bring a lot. Your application is very impressive. So what we'll do now is, Liz, if you would explain where you are with the scholarship committee, kind of the schedule and meetings and stuff like that.
Sure. So full disclosure, I'm very new to the scholarship committee myself, and the 2 other members are relatively new as well. So it's a really good time to add, all the members that we need and really start maybe revamping the whole process and taking another look at it and see how it can be improved from application to selection. My understanding is that it's not, the meetings are not every month necessarily, just kind of as needed. So we have had a couple of meetings, before one was to discuss the applications and to decide on the awards for this year. There'll probably be a couple of meetings towards the end of the year, just because we'll have to look at some fundraising. But it's not a huge time commitment is what I was told. So it'll probably stay that way. But like the 3 of us that are on there are relatively new. So everybody's kind of in the same boat a little bit. But again, it's like, I think, a great opportunity to take a look at everything, the whole process. And it'll be great to have new, fresh ideas and perspectives on it. Right now, the application, there's an essay that the student has to provide. They have to be in good standing. It doesn't necessarily have to be your A+ student, but someone that shows that, they'll be a successful student. A big component is community involvement. Since it's a town scholarship, we all just decided that it's important to have the student show community involvement outside of school. And also the financial need is a big portion of it as well. So
can I ask you a couple of questions?
Yeah.
So how many are we giving out? And only to high school students?
So it's high school seniors. They have to be Northborough residents and in a public school. So one of the things that I personally feel like could be expanded is just bringing more awareness outside of Algonquin that this exists. We do get a couple of applications from Assabet, or I think AMSA was another school that we received them, but the bulk of them are from Algonquin. So there are other students that attend different schools. Sometimes there's students that are special ed students that are placed out, but they could continue their education. So we don't want to forget and give them an opportunity to apply as well. So we want to make sure that they are aware of it. As far as how many, we gave 5 scholarships out this year, totaling $1,800. But keep in mind that the last 2 years, nothing was awarded because of COVID. So I'm not, part of it is fundraising, and that comes from checking off little box on the tax papers to add on a little bit to the fund, which I think a lot of people aren't even aware of. So again, I think a lot of people in town and, need to be aware that this fund even exists, as well as how they can contribute other than that. And there is an online link on the town website to contribute. But again,
I know.
Nobody
Part of
sees
that
it.
is marketing. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think marketing it both to students who want to apply and are eligible to apply, as well as to people who can donate, are two really big things. In the past, for fundraising, having like a bounce house at Apple Fest, I guess, was the main fundraiser. And again, I think maybe that's something to look at to see if we can do better.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. I think one thing I want to make sure before I sign up. So because I'm retired and my one daughter is in Seattle, one is in Santa Monica, and my son is in New York City. So we do travel, but I'm always available on Zoom. So that is one of my. I want to be in front, up front, that I may not be here all the time, but whenever I'm here, obviously I will attend in-person meeting. Otherwise, Zoom meeting is not a problem.
Right.
And I think this sounds great to me. We want to get Northborough on a map everywhere.
Kristen, do you have any comments or questions?
Well, have you ever been on a scholarship committee before or anything like that? They could do a little experience. Not that it's super important, but just.
Yeah. So how about
question.
this? I have been on 5 committees. I started one of the founders of one in India Society of Worcester. It's in Shrewsbury.
Yeah.
So we started that one, and we gave out, I think, we started with 2 or 3, and then we expanded. I'm also doing 2 other projects right now where we give out, I would say, probably 30 or 40 students and up to $4,000 each, but only going to graduate school. So we have a different tier, and I have many ideas. I mean, whole life I've been doing it.
Great,
Because,
great.
Yeah.
That's
And
super.
I have many ideas. For example, okay.
Okay.
How many we can create name scholarship, so we can go to businesses and say, okay, in your name, we will give the scholarship. So that's how we expand number of available scholarship. We do some marketing so the students are aware of it. And then we also want to get students in the hook so that once they get it, they graduate it, they have their life. Don't forget Northborough.
Great.
So that's another component of it. So in
Nice.
fact, I'm telling my daughters and my son that, look, let's do something, let's create a scholarship. They are all supportive of it, but we don't know how to do it. There are not, as you said, it's not very well known, how do you go about doing this? So that's one of my interests, actually. I really want to see expand, number of scholarship as well as the amount. I mean, when you say $1,800 for 5, so, you're giving what, $300, $400? That's
Right. It ranges from 2 to 400, depending on the.
Yeah, I mean, it's better than 0, but I think
Right.
it would be nice to give some, something more
More.
significant.
Agreed.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Julianne, did you have any questions? Because it's already almost 5:50 and we're
Okay. Yeah.
'cause we just started late and then we've been chatting. So I don't want to make people wait too long.
Well,
Yeah, I took too long to tell
No. It was very valuable to hear what you had to say. I have one odd question, and I'm going to ask all of the candidates this. How did you find out about this committee and volunteering for it? I'm just trying to get some information about if it's easy for people to find out where to sign up to volunteer, and any ideas you might have.
Yeah, so I went to town like last year, I think, maybe, or a year before. And then I was asking them that, what are the places I can volunteer because I had extra time. And I wanted to be in a tech committee, a technology committee in the Northborough, but then it didn't go anywhere. So then I looked at scholarship. I said, oh, this is good. And I know Chris D'Amico. So Chris D'Amico, he was running it, right? Scholarship committee.
Okay.
Bob D'Amico?
Yeah, Chris. Yeah.
Mhm.
And so my son, Neil, he did a eagle. He's an eagle. He's a Boy Scout. He did eagle, the trail around Peasley. My
Yeah.
son did it.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah.
I walk that trail a lot.
Yeah. So he was part of it, starting it. And I'm sure other people did it.
Yeah. All right, great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I guess we have to move on.
Okay, so let me know your decision, and then
Absolutely.
if I'm selected, when is the first meeting? Let's
No.
get it done.
Yeah, we'll be voting, the whole Board of Selectmen has
Okay.
to vote you
Makes sense.
on. And so we'll be voting at our next meeting, which is on Monday.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
All right.
Nice to
Looking
meet
forward.
you.
Okay. I
Thanks.
hope I passed the test, but anyway, if you have any question, let me know, email or anything.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, you all set for Christina?
Yeah.
We are all
Okay,
set for
she's
Christmas.
waiting.
Hi, Christina. Sorry, we were running a little late.
That's okay. No worries.
Had a little technical difficulties at the beginning, but we're all ready to go now.
That happens with
so
these
thank
things
you.
all the time.
Thank you for applying.
Oh, you're welcome.
All right. So how did you start last time, Julia?
So I'll introduce everyone. We have Diane Wackel here, who's our host and staff member,
Mhm.
myself, Julianne Hirsch, Kristen Wickstead from Board of Selectmen, and Liz Nolan, who is currently serving on the Scholarship Committee.
Okay.
And first of all, welcome. Thank you so much for applying, and your application looks great. But we received the application, but anybody who is viewing the meeting might not know much about you.
Okay.
So if you could just spend a little time telling us about yourself a little bit and why this committee.
Okay. So I am, let's see, I don't know what to say exactly. So I'll just start and you can tell me what I miss, if that's okay. I have been living in Northborough 5 years. We moved here basically for the school system for my son a few years ago. And he's at Z as a 4th grader now. And I'm very involved in the PTO there, running the book fair, doing fundraising with the Z silent auction, that type of stuff. So it just, to be involved is important. I kept seeing a lot of my friends like Susie and stuff are involved in the government community across Northborough, and I can't commit a ton of time, but at the same time, I wanted to look for a way to join, and I kept seeing that this particular group was looking for people. And last time I saw it posted, I was like, oh, maybe I'll do that at some point. So this time I did it. And the reason that it's important to me is mostly because, I mean, education is huge. I was a scholarship kid. I applied for them. I needed them, and I want to be able to help others who might need it as well. So it's really about it. I mean, it's just something that's important to me is education and helping. So the two go together pretty well for me.
Well, your enthusiasm is very evident. So usually now what we do now is Liz Nolan will tell you a little bit about how the committee runs. And then if you have any questions and any follow-up questions that we might have. But can I just go back to one thing you said? So you realized about the committee from friends or from the website, following the website, or
a little bit of both. Susie had posted it on her Facebook, and I happened to see, and I was like, oh, you know what? I will do that. It was just a reminder, but I do look at the website now and again, and obviously follow the government affairs
pages and stuff. So just to see what's going on, but I haven't been involved.
That's
So this
great.
was
That-
this
yeah.
was the chance.
That's great. Good to know. Okay, Liz, sorry.
No, that's okay. So I'm new to the committee as well, and the other two current members are pretty new as well. So I think it's a great time to add more people, to the committee, and we just have a huge discussion as how we can change things around and revamp it. I think it does need some things to bringing up to, more current, maybe change some processes. So I think new people, definitely, we can all hash it out and decide, what needs to be done from application to review of applications and selection process.
Okay.
This past year, we awarded 5 scholarships for a total of $1,800. So not a huge amount, but it's something for some students. I think we had 50 applications, maybe 54, something like that. So we had a good response. A lot of them were from Algonquin. So one of the things I think is important is to make sure any student who's a senior, whether they go to Algonquin or any of the other public schools, that they're aware of it. So maybe reach out and do more outreach for, like Assabet or other schools that they may go to. It is based on financial need, an essay, as well as good standing of the student. And a big proponent too is that they show us some community service. Since it's a town scholarship, it would be nice if they, do something for service too. So those are kind of things that we look at when reviewing the applications. But financial is, the need of the family is kind of a priority. But I think, everything from the, an evaluation tool of how we look at them as a group, is important to look at. The meetings are not often from historically, they've met maybe a few times a year. One is just to, discuss and then review and then select. So, it's a handful of meetings. I think a big component, again, going back to bringing awareness, not only to students to apply, but also to the public that, they can donate to it. Right now, the only way to donate is a little check mark on their tax bill when they return it. And a lot of people aren't aware of that because they, have their mortgage company decide, and pay it directly. So yeah, me too.
I'm one of them. I didn't know until I actually read the thing that,
right, exactly.
Because they pay it, they deal with it.
Right. So I think we're missing a lot of people that may be interested in contributing towards the fund. Because of COVID, there were 2 years that there were no awards for it. So, that's, I think, I honestly don't know what in the past they've given out in comparison to what we gave out this year. But fundraising is a component. So your background in fundraising for the PTO will be very huge. I think, in the past, the only fundraiser they had was outside of the tax bill is a bounce house at Applefest. And it sounded from what I understood is that, you have to pay for the bounce house. So, it's kind of a little bit of a wash. Maybe they got $400 or $500, if that, which isn't to say it's not worth doing, but I think there are other ways of raising the money that, you can do better. So your background in things like that would be awesome to have on board. Okay.
Yeah, so Christina, did you want to add anything else about what ideas you have for the committee or?
I don't know yet. It sounds like it's, it definitely needs a little bit of process with more awareness, I think is definitely a big thing. I'll be honest, until as Liz said, the little checkbox, I didn't know it existed really until I was actually reading through like the website, the site for the committee and went, oh geez, I didn't know that was there. I kind of feel bad that I haven't donated in all these years because my mortgage company does it. So I didn't know that. So I think, if there are ways that we could bring awareness to it and see if there are other ways people could donate to help out, that would be great. And then be able to help more people.
Right. I agree. Like raising the fund to a bigger level where you either give out bigger scholarships or you're able to do more of them,
That would be great.
Do you have other questions at all or?
I don't. I mean, I think you've answered them as far as like how often the meet is, how much, involvement. I think it's kind of what we can make it, especially if it sounds like a lot of people are new. We might be able to, do things a little differently. I mean, obviously, I've never been one to come into a committee and be like, we need to do everything different. It's not how you start off, but just sort of looking at something and kind of evaluating what's working and what's not working, and then figuring it out from there.
Christina, I think one of the things that you mentioned in your application was that you said that you reviewed applications at your place of work and were able to make decisions on candidates. And so I think having that kind of organizational idea in your head will also be a benefit to this committee. But if you don't have any more comments or questions, Kristen will explain what happens next. And
yeah, so we have to vote as a board on whether or not you're on the committee. I should have told the previous guy this, but there are 3 available spots as far as I know, and we only have 2 people we're interviewing right now. There is 1 more applicant, but so it might be 3 and 3. So it might just, be really easy. So we'll be voting on you and him on Monday.
Okay.
As far as I know. So, I mean, that could change, but probably not. So we're really excited that you are throwing your hat in the town ring as well as the Z ring. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you for the information and telling me how the process will work as far as that goes from there.
Yeah, so you're here Monday. Our meetings are in the evening, so you're here Monday evening, maybe Tuesday morning, right, Diane?
Yeah, I'll be in touch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great. Thank you, Christina. Nice to meet you.
Thank you. You as well.
Bye now.
thanks, Liz.
All right. Yeah.
Thank you, Liz. Yes.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Liz. Bye.
All right. I'm going to let in, let's see, Muriel Sweener is a member of the Council on Aging. And then Fran Baxtron is the applicant. Hi, Fran.
Oh, hey, Diane.
Oh, Kristen, yep, there you go.
Did we lose Muriel? I thought Muriel was coming too.
Yes, she was just here. We'll see if she rejoins.
Okay. Sorry to keep you waiting, Fran. We had a little bit of technical difficulties that got us going a little late. And so everybody's backed up a little bit.
Not a problem.
There's Muriel.
Hi, Muriel. Can you unmute? There you go.
I
Thank
did.
you.
Yep.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Reporting for the COA.
Thank you. Okay.
Would you like us to proceed without your video or?
Oh, you're not, oh, sorry. Let me unclick it. Okay,
There you go.
there you go.
Hi.
Thank you.
Hi,
Nice to meet you.
thank you.
I know Fran. I think most people on the committee here know Fran. So no introductions necessary, right? It's
Correct.
so Fran, first of all, thank you for applying. Your application is quite impressive with a lot of experience working with the senior citizen population. But for the folks at home, would you mind just kind of briefly telling, outlining, why this committee and some of your experiences, maybe the highlights of your experience?
A few highlights, maybe a few lowlights. So I'm Fran Baxtron. I'm a resident of Northborough since 1987. And actually the first thing I ever volunteered for was at the senior center. My son was going into kindergarten and there was a new program coming out, a training from at the federal level. The acronym is SHINE, Serving Health Information Needs of Elders everyone on Medicare. And I had an insurance background, and I knew that it was an area that I understood, and I knew how complex and complicated it was for older adults. So I volunteered at the senior center, became a certified Shine counselor, and then joined the Council on Aging a few years later. I actually was the chair of the Council on Aging when we went to the town meeting for the feasibility study for our senior center. And I stayed with the Council on Aging for several years until I decided to run for Board of Selectmen. And then from there, I've come in and out of various different committees. I mean, the reality is I'm not from Massachusetts, I'm not from Northborough, but I wanted to be involved. So in some form or fashion, I've been involved with the town, volunteering in government since I've been here. I also have worked professionally for the entire time I've been in Massachusetts, working with low-income, older adults and minorities, 13 years in legal services as a paralegal, helping people keep their Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security, unemployment, and welfare benefits. Well, it's no longer called that, DTA, transitional assistance benefits. And now I actually work in elder services. So, and I help people in the community through grant process through the Older Americans Act, as well as overseeing the information referral department, helping people understand what's out there for the seniors. So I wanted to come full circle. I'm at the tail end of my working career, and I want to get more involved. And I'm no longer a 37-year-old looking to volunteer with the seniors, but I am still looking to volunteer with the seniors.
Wow, you have a lot to offer, that's for sure. Muriel, did you want to just explain the meeting schedule and how the Council on Aging runs, or?
Okay, well, I briefly, Adrian is our chair, as you know, and I'm fairly new as vice chair, and I'm learning a lot as I go along as well. And Fran has joined some of our meetings, and I've gotten a lot of input just from her being here, which was wonderful. And we just have a regular meeting. I think we meet on the second Tuesday of every month and go over what's going on in the senior community and programs that are available, what programs we might want to provide through the senior center for our senior population. So that's basically our main thrust, and you know, kind of tracking numbers of what's going on where in the senior realm.
So, Fran, I have a question about your application. Because you mentioned something that's kind of near and dear to my heart. And you said something like you hoped that the Council on Aging would be working with other boards more intently as it relates to aging in place. And I was wondering, do you want to talk about that a little bit? Do you have any ideas?
Sure. So, I mean, one of the things, so our Council on Aging is an advisory council. In some communities, they actually have fiduciary responsibilities and hire and fire their senior center directors. But in ours, it's advisory. And having a new senior center director, I think it's important that she has a strong, knowledgeable council to help her. But I actually, one of my responsibilities at work was to do a 4-year area plan, which Northborough is one of the 14 communities for that 4-year area plan. And it is about aging in place. And it's all about, I mean, the surveys that we did on the senior population for this 4-year area plan, the 3 most important things are transportation, transportation, and transportation. Aging in the suburbs, the biggest barrier to aging in the suburbs is the lack of transportation and walkability, because you can no longer drive, or you have driving limitations, and there's no access. There's no public access to transportation and very limited walkability. So we have to look at smaller footprint housing. We have to work, well, I mean, on the master plan, look at working with the developers and the construction world to start building smaller footprint homes so that people can age in place, can live in the community of their choice in a safe, healthy way. And that's usually about downsizing. And or, going into assisted living or supportive housing. But I think it's doable. I mean, we have neighborhoods. I mean, I live in one that was built in the 50s, 900 square foot ranches on slabs, no basements, no stairs. So we can do it. It's a matter of, and I don't know how you encourage the developers, because I mean, everybody on this call knows that they say they build what people want. And that's not what people want, but we have to somehow change that conversation. It may be working with the new MBTA zoning thing that's coming up. Maybe that is how we get more dense, smaller footprint of homes for people to live in, to age in place. But it's about walkability and transportation.
And does that follow what so the master plan mentioned something about healthy aging collaborative. So is that the group you were referring to that?
Well, I mean, that healthy living collaborative is just that. It's a collaboration. It's not brick and mortar, right? We have to really figure out how to get the brick and mortar that people can live in, right? Over 55 communities are not it. I mean, people in Northborough can't afford to downsize into Northborough most of those places are bigger than the house that I live in, right? So I think it's going to take a lot, but I mean, it's not undoable. We have to figure out a way to encourage development in smaller footprints, one level. Right? Affordable, lowercase affordable, not the calculation that the state uses to determine affordability. What's truly affordable. I have one neighbor in this, just real quick. She's one of the originals. She bought the house in the 1950s. She's in her 90s. She pays more in taxes each year than she paid for the house in the 1950s. Think about that. That's like crazy, right?
Yeah.
So.
But good for her that she's.
That's right. That's right.
We should, Julian, we should get going because we have more people in the waiting room waiting for the next thing. And I think we all know Fran is highly qualified for this position. So I think you also know, Fran, that you are, we will vote on Monday at our next meeting. So you'll find out if you watch that meeting and Diane will be in touch.
All right. Well, thank you all very much. Thank you, Muriel, for coming in for Adrian. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Fran.
See you next week.
Bye.
Thanks, Fran. Thank you, Muriel.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks, Diane.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Muriel. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and bring in Michelle Rehill is the chair of the Board of Library Trustees. And then Jocelyn is going to join us in about a minute.
Kristen, good that you're keeping me on.
Yeah, I know you could chat all day. You're so friendly.
Yeah.
But I feel for these people because they have to have their interview and they've been sitting in a waiting room for 10.
No, I didn't realize. Thank you for pointing that out.
All right, Michelle is just in and I don't know if she dropped off.
So we have Jocelyn and then.
And Jocelyn's in. So let me let Jocelyn in and then Michelle hopefully will rejoin.
Is Michelle the one? She's part of the.
Yeah, Michelle Rehill is the chair of the library trustees. So I'll let Michelle in again and I'll let Jocelyn in.
Here she is.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Let's just make sure we have connectivity. Can Michelle, you can hear us, okay?
Yes, I can hear you.
Excellent. And Jocelyn?
We can hear you, Jocelyn.
All right, thanks, guys.
This happened to somebody else too. Don't worry about it.
How about now?
Oh, perfect. Okay, we can get started. So let me introduce people. We have Diane Wackel here, who is our host and town staff person. I am Julianne Hirsch from Board of Selectmen. Kristen Wickstead is from Board of Selectmen, and Michelle is here representing the library trustees. So welcome, Jocelyn, and thank you for applying. So other people will be watching this meeting and they have not had the benefit of seeing your application and all of your interests. So if you wouldn't mind just telling us a little bit about yourself and why you're interested in this committee, that'd be great.
Sure. Thanks, Julianne, Kristen, and Michelle, and Diane for having me here tonight. And anybody who happens to be watching, hello, it's lovely to meet you. As you said, I am Jocelyn McElhenney. I have been a resident of the town almost the entirety of my life. I spent many an afternoon at the library as a child, growing up, going through the school system, many weekends working on projects in high school, left town a little bit, came back and realized that as I've gone through life and in the career I currently have, I work in corporate philanthropy. One of the things that has come up over and over again when we talk about markers for success is early literacy. And one of the best places to make sure that we have great literacy programs and open access to books is, of course, the Northborough Library. I do recognize the library is more than books. I know it is the place to connect. And it's, as we move into a more of a digital age, the library is still serving the community in a wonderful way. I did serve on the board for 5 years previously. When my second term ended, it was right in the middle of COVID. I needed a little bit of a break. After taking a year off and realizing that there were positions open again, I jumped right back on, hoping to get back onto the library and continue the work that I had been doing previously.
Wow. Okay. Thank you. Michelle, did you want to, did you know each other? Michelle, have you been?
We were on the board together. So yes, we know each other. Jocelyn is already very familiar with what goes on at the library, as a trustee. So I could give my spiel about what's required of a trustee and, composition of the board and so forth, but I can wait and do that for the next candidate because Jocelyn already knows all that, if that's all right with you.
Oh, sure. And Jocelyn, do you have any questions for Michelle or?
I do not.
In your 2-year?
in my 1 year break, I don't think that much has changed. I know meetings are still happening virtually, but we are looking to get back in person, I think by the fall, which I'm completely open to, and just excited and hope that I would be accepted back onto the board.
So one of the things that I was really curious about in your application was that you mentioned that you have a lot of fundraising experience. Was there anything special that that you'd like to tell us about, or just do you do it at your child's school, or how?
So my experience is actually on the grant making side. So I do have a lot of experience as a funder of grant applications. So I have the fortune of understanding from the grant maker's perspective what funders look for and hope to continue to bring that experience to the library.
Oh, wow. That could be pretty helpful, I would say. Michelle, what do you think?
Absolutely.
Kristen?
That's your
pollen.
We're kind of knocking it out the park tonight with our candidates. Everybody is very qualified. And I just appreciate that you taking a year off for a little mental health, especially during a hard time, is smart. And now if you're eager to get back involved, that's wonderful. So thank you for applying and jumping back in.
Thanks, Kristen.
And maybe we can save a little time and catch up on our lateness with Jocelyn, since she already knows everything that Michelle would be saying. Right?
I'm happy to be the buffer. I don't have any questions. I know Michelle has always been very responsive when I have had questions. So
Yeah.
if Kristen, you and Julianne don't have any questions for me, since I don't know either of you very well, I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have about me, my history with the town, or you can just go on the fact that I have a fabulous smile and I'm excited to get back to work.
That's
Well,
kind of.
I do have one question, and I forgot to ask the last applicant. So basically, you had served on this, and so that's how you decided to rejoin the committee. Because one of my questions was, you know, some people find out from friends, some people find out from websites, and so I'm just curious as to how people kind of get the knowledge about our boards and committees in town, but yours is kind of obvious, isn't it? So
once you've been there, you're kind of aware that the board exists.
yeah,
So,
yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming, and we'll be discussing all of the applicants Monday night. It has to go before the full board.
Absolutely.
So.
I remember from last time.
Right. So yeah, so you know how it works. So
I do.
Our meeting's Monday.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for meeting with me tonight. I hope you have just as easy a time with the other candidates.
I'm sure. And lovely meeting you.
It's really interesting too. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jocelyn. Alrighty. We ready for Beth?
Yeah.
Bethany?
Yes.
There she is.
Hi, Beth. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
You know, this is really great. We can hear you. We've had a little problem.
Yeah.
This is wonderful. So Beth, nice to meet you. Thanks for coming tonight. I'll just introduce the people on the screen here. We have Diane Wackel from the town staff, myself, Julianne Hirsch from Board of Selectmen, Kristen Wickstead from Board of Selectmen, and Michelle Rehill from she's the chairperson of the trustees. So your application looks very impressive. But people at home and other people viewing it that really might not have had a chance to see it. So could you just tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're interested in this committee?
Sure. So my name is Beth Samas. I have been living in Northborough for 5 years now. And my husband and I just bought our first home 1 year ago. So, and I've been a librarian for 10 years. I started when I was in library school. I started in the public libraries, and then after graduation moved to academic libraries, and then landed where I am now, which is in special collections. I work at the American Antiquarian Society in Worcester. I've been there for, this is my 7th year, and my 4th year as the head of acquisitions there. That is a very quick about me. I know you're on a schedule, so I'll try and keep it moving too. And I'm really interested in this position. Library board service is something that I've been thinking about for quite some time, and I finally feel like I'm at a place personally and professionally where I have the capacity to take on such a role. And I feel like I could be effective. I think I have a skill set that would apply. I'm also just really interested in giving back to this community that has welcomed me these past 5 years. I feel like I've really gotten to engage with the community in a lot of ways. Most recently, the Northborough Recreation's Yoga in the Park, you know, Apple Fest, the book sales, the plant sales. And so I just really want to give back for all that has been given to me and, you know, enable other people to take advantage of all of the benefits of this town. And I think that the library board is really that intersection of my skills, my interests, my passions, and the place where I could be most useful.
Sounds good. So normally at this point in the interview, we ask the chairperson to just tell you a little bit about the schedule, your obligations, and you know, some of their agenda.
All right, I will take over them. First, thank you, Beth, for applying for the openings. And I will tell you a little bit about the Board of Trustees. We have the responsibility to, put in quotes, govern the library. We establish policies, organize administration, determine the operation, and authorize expenditure of funds. Those are all the official words. I think of us as a sounding board for the library director and the staff. We meet on the second Tuesday of the month at 7 p.m. And there is no meeting in August. I don't know why, but that's the way it's always been. There are 9 members, 9 trustees, 4 officers, and 3 standing subcommittees. The officers are the chair, vice chair, secretary, and treasurer. And the subcommittees are the administrative committee that deals, with the library director on policies pertaining to library procedures, etc. Long-range planning, which works with the director to deal with utilization of resources, adding and deleting services, participating in regional organizations, and the proposed use of invested funds. And the building and grounds, which is responsible for working with the library director for anything dealing with general maintenance or repairs, or looking at things like renovations, additions, or remodeling. And I think those were all the important things that I needed to say. I covered all my points. Do you have any questions about anything that I said?
I do have a question. So I understand that the board members are staggered on, and so it's a 3-year appointment.
Yes.
With an opportunity to renew that appointment. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So Beth, that's a good question, because so there are 2 candidates, and did you specifically apply for 3, or because one of the positions is a 2-year term? Does that matter to you?
It does not, no, but that was one of my, I thought I had read there that one was a shortened, but I have no preference, no, either is.
Okay, great, thank you. Kristen, did you have any comments or questions, or?
So how did you find out about this opening, this vacancy on the library trustees? Beth?
It was either in an email, one of the emails lists that I signed up from the town, or it was from the Northborough community Facebook group. It may have been from Liz Nolan in the Facebook group. I'm not entirely positive which, but it was one of those 2 places.
Okay, great. Thank you. We're just trying to figure out how people find out about vacancies, because we've had the last, I don't know, year or so, there's been a handful of vacancies. So we want to know what we're doing right.
So I have a question from your application, and I'm really curious about this. You said, first of all, I loved your whole motto in life, pivot, not panic. That was really great.
Thank you.
But you mentioned that when you were at Fordham, you organized a finals week stress relief pilot program. Could you tell us a little bit about what that involved, or?
Sure.
Pretty interesting.
Thank you. Yes, and I was very proud of it. I worked with a colleague, and together we actually weren't given a budget our first year. We had to prove our worth. So it was entirely, we had a small slush fund that the library let us use, and then the rest was entirely donated. We called it, so if you're familiar with Fordham, they're the Rams. And so we called it Ram Cram when you're cramming for finals. And so we scheduled different activities. We had someone donate a virtual reality headset and do, you could explore space, or you could do different virtual realities. This was also in 2015. So this was a little bit more cutting edge, and not many people had it at home at the time. We had people they could fill out postcards, and we would send them to their friends in the dorms through the intercampus mail service. So we set up a little mailbox. We had lots of passive programming, so coloring stations, Lego stations. We did collectible cards, like trading cards that all had cute animals and motivational sayings, which we were really surprised at how popular they were. People were coming in every day to see what the new card was. Like the toughest football players were like, "It's a kitten," it was people got really into it. If they missed a day, they'd be like, "Do you have any left over from the turtles?" And it was just really great. And so I actually ended up leaving Fordham after that year, but they were given a budget for the following year, and it did continue on. And it was also a major learning curve, because we had originally planned to have therapy dogs come in, and we thought that we had approved it from everyone we needed to approve it from. And then the week before, I guess one person we missed said, you can't do that. And so we had to fill that gap right away. And that's when we brought in the virtual reality. Actually, it was a last minute. IT department donated some of their personal equipment to save us. So yeah, it was really fun, and really proud that it continued on after I left. So
Great. It sounds wonderful. Thank you so much. So Kristen will tell you about what happens next, unless you have more to add or question or.
No, I'm all set over here.
Okay, so we have to vote on all these appointments as the entire Board of Selectmen has to vote. So we have a meeting on Monday, and the 5 of us will vote on all these appointments then. And so you can either watch the meeting, which is super fun, or Diane will email you on Tuesday morning, which is also fine. So yeah, that's how that works.
Great.
And thank you so much for applying. Like, I really feel like you would be a big asset with your interesting experience with the Antiquarian Society, but also your fun ideas. I mean, that's great. Libraries are full of so many different pieces of our lives. So it's nice that yours has a lot of breadth.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you for taking the time to speak with me today. I really do appreciate it.
Sure.
Our pleasure.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
And thank you, Michelle, for coming and helping us out here.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yes, thanks, Michelle.
Am I done now?
You
Yes.
are.
Okie dokie.
You're both.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Oops.
So we have to hang on, Kristen.
Yeah, because we have our motions, right?
I will sign off. Thank you all. Have a good night.
Me too.
Bye-bye.
All right, so I'm gonna I'll be in the background listening, and when you're ready to adjourn, we'll go ahead and do that.
Okay.
Thank you. Thanks, Diane.
All right, I'm right here if you have any questions.
Okay. So Kristen, one of the things I'm thinking about is, first of all, we are so lucky to have all of these wonderful applicants. They're all qualified in different ways. But I'm thinking that what we have to decide on is 2-year terms versus 3-year terms for both scholarship and library trustees. And what is your thought about, some of these people have more experience than the other person. So should that person get the 2-year slot or the 3-year slot?
Yeah, I mean, we didn't ask everybody, right? But I suppose that would have been a good idea. So, but I'm not sure if people have a huge preference. I think they also understand that if something happens, they can always step down, right? So if they get appointed to the 3-year spot, they can only do it for 2 years for whatever reason. There's freedom in that. There's no penalty. So I don't think it's not that big a deal.
It's not that big a deal. My thought process was just that if it's a person who's really new or newer than the other candidate, maybe they should get the 3-year slot so they have that learning period. Does that even make sense to you?
Yeah, sure. I mean, the one that sort of pertains to would be the library trustees more than the scholarship, right? Because with scholarship committee, both people are pretty new to being on that committee, right? Neither one of them has done our town committee before. So why don't you want me to just
take a stab at it?
Okay. So let's do the Council on Aging, and then we'll do the library trustees, and then we'll go back to the scholarship.
Okay,
Okay.
all right.
I move the interview committee vote to recommend Fran Backstrom for appointment to the Council on Aging for a 3-year term at the June 13th, 2022 Selectmen's meeting.
So I'll second that and then we'll do a roll call vote.
Yep.
Kristen,
Aye.
Julianne Hirsch, aye, and Fran is automatically, is now our recommendation. Okay. So now you wanted to do library?
Yeah, let's do library first.
Okay. So we have, so Beth has a lot of experience
With libraries in
with
general.
libraries.
Sounds like a lot of fun. And then Jocelyn has a lot of experience being on the library trustees and has a lot of experience with fundraising. And the thing is with these committees, it doesn't really matter. Because if they choose to reapply, they don't really have to apply again. They just are automatically folded in if they want to be, right?
Yeah, unless someone comes forward and says, well, you know, they want that position too. But these are very, very qualified people and we're lucky to have both of them. So you want to just make another motion?
Yeah, sure.
Randomly, just so that they also, I want the candidates to understand that, you know, they're all wonderful, and the 2-year, 3-year thing really is just kind of a random decision.
It is. It's just because we have so many openings right now.
Right. Okay.
We need to have them staggered because I think there are 4 openings. So I move the interview committee vote to recommend. I didn't write her. Wait. Let me get my application back. Sorry, I'll start again. I gotta get my packet back up.
So we have Jocelyn McElhenney, who was on the trustees before, and Beth Samus.
Yeah, so, okay. Sorry. Oh, I lost my. Here it is. Okay. I move the committee vote to recommend Jocelyn McElhenney for appointment to the Board of Library Trustees for a 2-year term at the June 13th, 2022 Selectmen's meeting.
Second, roll call vote. Kristen?
Aye.
Julianne Hirsch, aye. Okay, so Jocelyn has been nominated.
And I move the interview committee vote to recommend Beth Samus for appointment to the Board of Library Trustees for a 3rd-year term at the June 13th, 2022 Selectmen's meeting.
Second, roll call vote. Kristen?
Aye.
Julianne Hirsch, aye. Okay, Beth is our recommendation. And now scholarship. So.
Okay. All right. I got this. I'm on a roll. Ready?
Yep.
Okay. I move the interview committee vote to recommend Chandra Vora for appointment to the scholarship committee for a 2-year term at the June 13th, 2022 Selectmen's meeting.
Second, roll call vote. Kristen?
Aye.
Julianne Hirsch, aye. Okay, so the vote passes, and then
Chandra is recommended.
Right, sorry. Thank you.
Sure. Okay, I move the interview committee vote to recommend Christina Renzullo for a 3-year term at the June 13th, 2022 Selectmen's meeting.
Second, roll call vote. Kristen?
Aye.
Julianne Hirsch, aye. It passes that Christina Renzullo will be our 3-year term candidate. Okay, recommendation.
Right.
All right. Anything else before we end the meeting? Diane, anything we're missing here?
You just need to adjourn.
Okay. I move that we adjourn.
Second,
Roll call vote. Kristen?
aye.
Julianne Hirsch, aye. Thanks, Diane.
Thank you. We did a good job.
Thank you. Thanks to you.
Great.